I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, boy, that's a lot of equipment that's not getting used. I'm Kristen. Welcome back to Travels and Travails, where we show you how to live life off the beaten path. So one of the reasons why I brought you here to show you all this stuff is so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did. So early on, we bought a lot of equipment, which I'm going to show you, and we found out that maybe the equipment that we bought wasn't exactly going to meet our needs. Doug really likes his chairs, and so as you'll see, we have a lot of chairs that we're not using right now. These Coleman chairs are great because they have the tray that you can put your drink on, also you can put your food on it, but they're really heavy and they're not as comfortable as the second iteration, which is these zero gravity chairs. And these zero gravity chairs, we love them, but they fell apart. We would put them in the casita and they would fall apart. The bolts and nuts would come out, and then, or screws, whatever, the screws would come out, and then we'd end up with parts and chairs that we couldn't even use. So we use them here on the patio now, so it's not a complete waste. And the Coleman chairs we use when we have a party, so we weren't throwing our money away. But I'll show you what we use instead. Instead, we use these Pico chairs, and these Pico chairs are really compact. They're fairly comfortable. They do have a little pocket right here that you can put your drink in, and another pocket right here for your phone. But the great thing about them is that they're so compact. They're fairly lightweight and they're very compact, so they fit in the back of the truck really nicely. Now we're getting to the point where we have a lot of equipment and we need the space. So one of the other things that we got is this Outlander firebolt, and it does put out a nice hot fire. But the thing about it is that it only lasts about 2 hours on a 20-pound tank of propane. And so it's not very practical. We still use it once in a blue moon if we have a big crowd, because what we're going with now is the Ignic fire can, and it's very compact and small. It's pretty heavy, but it's very small and compact. And then it also, we had to buy the holder for the 5-pound propane. And this thing, it just sips propane, but it really puts out a great fire for about 4 people. So I really do like that. So the other thing that we don't use anymore, and we probably haven't used for a while, is this old Coleman table. And the reason why we don't use that Coleman table anymore is because it's really hard. It's so challenging to put together. I had to have Doug put it together, and I'll show you what we do use instead. The table that we have now, instead of using that old Coleman, now we're using the King Camp table. And I really like it. It's a little bit heavy, but it's a lot easier to set up. It doesn't have a million pieces, and it's very compact. I really like that too. We bought this really nice step stool. There was a couple times when we were camping and the step, we were really unlevel and the step was really steep. And so we bought this little step stool so that we didn't have to jump out every time we wanted to get out of the casita. But what we got instead is Doug installed this double step, and it folds up and then it slides in just like your regular step would. But the thing about it is that I'm not a fan of is that it sits way down, so it's almost the lowest point on the casita. And you know, we like to get off the beaten path. And so when we're trying to get off the beaten path and that's the lowest point, it's sometimes we've drug it through dirt, and that's not that good for the step. Probably not that good for the casita either. Let's see, what else? Oh, another thing that we are not going to be using anymore that we love and has been great for us is the Jackery. So we have the Jackery 1000, and if you've seen any of our other videos on this, you know that this runs my hair dryer and also my coffee maker, which I'll talk about in a minute. And we got these really nice solar panels to go with it, and so it worked great. But it takes up a lot of space in the casita. So what we got instead, Unox sent us 2 batteries, and we also bought an inverter. So with the 2 lithium batteries, the inverter, and then you know that we already have the solar. We have 135 watts of solar, and we're good to go. And I could run my hair dryer to my heart's content, and I can run my coffee maker till I'm sick of coffee, and I love that. So talking about how we cook. So here you can see right here, I used to use this to make my coffee. It's a percolator and it works great, but it's messy. When you take the grounds out of here, it's very messy. So what I use now instead, I'm using what is kind of like a Keurig style coffee maker. And so I just throw away the pods and it's not really super messy. We just threw some old pans in here a while back, and I'll tell you, we rarely use these pans, and I'll show you in a minute what we do use instead. So we got the Omnia instead. That's one of the things that we use. And it comes with a little muffin tin. See, this just pops out right here and you can make muffins in it. And then the silicone liner makes cleanup really a breeze. And I love this because we can have baked goods, we can bake. You know, the casita doesn't have an oven. I mean, if you know anything about casitas, you can never even order a casita with an oven. So the other thing that we use that we really like is the Blackstone. And the Blackstone, the reason why I love it is because Doug cooks on it. That's the main reason. But you know, we do our breakfast on the Blackstone. It doesn't make we can cook bacon on it, and it doesn't make a big mess of the casita, and we can cook outside, and that is really nice and it's fun. The Omnia just goes on the stovetop. That's what it is, little stovetop cooker. So I usually just put it on the stovetop in here, and I have all the gizmos, little dial right there, the thermometer to show me what the temperature is so I can get it, everything all copacetic. So that's how we cook now. Oh, here's a big thing right here. You know what this is, right? This is the cushion that was originally in the casita, and oh boy, I tried. I know a lot of people put pads on top of these. They'll buy a pad from Amazon or something like that and try to make this comfortable, and I tried that and it did not work, and it especially didn't work for Doug. It feels like you're just laying right on the fiberglass in the casita. So what we got instead were the Southern Comfort beds, and we really love the Southern Comfort beds. When you order them, you can order them with either a hard side or like firm, I guess I should say, a firm side or a soft side. So that's what we got, and we love them. Here's something that we're doing a little bit differently. We used to put our clothes in bags like this, just your regular duffel bag. You know, you zip it up. Well, we don't use the duffel bag anymore because we found something better. So as you may know, Doug put shelves in our closet. And so in our closet, we have this little cloth pull-out drawer. We both have one, and it's really nice. I like it because I can take it inside, and then once I take it inside, I just fill it up with all my clothes, and then I put it back in here. And I have access to everything. I don't have to unzip a duffel, and I really like that. Oh, while we're here, I did add this shoe rack. We didn't have anywhere to put our shoes before, so it's not replacing anything. It's just doing its job right there. Another thing is, I love this. This was by the side of my bed, and I hung all my things in it. Now Trinity sleeps there in between our beds. So before we had Trinity, it was great. Now it just ends up full of dog hair. So it's not that much fun anymore. If you have a suggestion on what else I could do for storage, you know, if you have a casita, you're always looking for more storage opportunities. So put that in the description below. Did you know that these plastic wheel chocks have an expiration date on them? If you have them, go look at yours, because the expiration date is right here on the side, and it says replace after 12/2013. So we haven't used these. I think we used this when we had the Scamp, and we bought it in 2013. So what we have now is the Max Haul wheel chocks, and those don't go bad, and they work really well. They don't slide. These things, they slide, and the Max chocks won't slide on you. So right here we have the sink cover. So we used to have a wooden cover that Doug made for me, but the thing I like about this is I can still pour stuff out. I just got this on Amazon. It rolls up and rolls right out of the way. If I want to get it out of the way, it's no big deal. If I want to set stuff on it or dry the dishes, that's what it is. It's a dish drying rack. I can do that. Or I can just, if I want to pour out liquids, I can just, like I want to pour out the last of my coffee or something, I can just pour that right in there. And I really like that. So now I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite things. So we used to use this vacuum, and I had to plug it in, and we had to have power, so we either needed to be plugged into shore power or need to be plugged in here at the house. And then Doug got me this. I love it. And what this is, it's a DeWalt battery powered vacuum. And I think you can get other manufacturers make them as well. Doug got me this as a gift, and they say don't ever buy your wife a vacuum. Well, In this case, they were wrong because I really love that vacuum. It works great. It stows easily. I don't have to be on short power. Now, we do have to charge the battery up periodically, and so we do have to carry a charger, and that's one more thing. But yeah, we can just plug it now that we have 110 power in the casita. I can just plug it right into the casita. So you can just plug it in whenever it's convenient for you. I really like it. So we're gonna go back into the casita because we used to have bedspreads in here, and we bought these beddies, and the beddies, you can see them right now, they have been a lifesaver. I tell you, making the bed was a 25-step process, and now it's about a 1-step process. So the thing is, it's a one-piece, it's kind of like a sleeping bag that goes on the bed, and when you get ready to wash it, then you just take it off the bed and you throw it in the washing machine and you just put it right back on. Making the bed was a real chore before, I'll tell you. So I'm really happy to have the beddies. The colors are kind of neutral, so you don't really have a lot of options for colors, but I made it work in here. If you're interested in buying any of the things, we have an Amazon store, and there's a couple different ways that you can get to the Amazon store. One way is I'll put a link in the description, and the other way is if you go to travelsandtravails.com and you go to our resources page, there's a link right there where you can see everything in our Amazon store. If you'd like to see some more content like this, check out these videos.